In the city, Adekunle was known as a man whose days answered him quickly. Work respected him. Money listened to him. People returned his calls. But the city had a way of taking without noise. It took time first, then sleep, then memory. Soon, even success began to feel like another job that never closed. So Adekunle decided to go home. Not for ceremony, not for announcement, just to sit again where his name had first been spoken without effort. It had been many years since he left the village of Alaro, walking out with a small bag and a promise that felt larger than his body. Now he returned with calm in his eyes and lines on his face that said life had not been gentle, but had been fair. The bus dropped him at dawn. The road into Aro was still the same red earth. Trees leaned closer than they used to, or maybe he was just smaller in their presence now. As he walked toward his mother's compound, roosters announced him before words could. By mid-morning, the village already knew. Adekunle has come home. The news moved faster than feet. Women paused mid-task to smile. Young men stood straighter. Children who had never known him by face repeated his name like a song they were still learning. His mother, Mama Yetunde, saw him first. She did not cry at once. She looked at him as though she was counting whether he was complete, then placed both hands on his chest, as if to feel if his breath still belonged to her. Only then did her tears arrive, quietly, without shaking. His younger siblings followed, Sade now grown and reserved, and Kola, taller than Adekunle remembered, but still carrying the same restless energy. They laughed, touched his shoulders, argued about who had grown more. Nothing was said about the years between them. Some things do not need explanation. Visitors came all day. Old friends like Tunde the carpenter, who laughed too loudly to hide how proud he felt. Neighbours who remembered Adekunle's father and spoke of him again like he was nearby. Elders who welcomed him with slow nods and words measured carefully. Adekunle did what was expected of him. He prostrated, he greeted properly. He listened more than he spoke. In the days that followed, he moved through the village like someone reading a book he once knew by heart. He visited compounds he remembered from childhood, some now empty, some rebuilt, some holding faces that did not recognize him but welcomed him all the same. He sat under mango trees where stories once formed his imagination. He poured libation with elders who remembered when he was too afraid to speak in meetings. At night, fires burned low and stories were told again, because repetition was respect. To the villagers, Adekunle's return meant many things. To the young, it meant possibility. To mothers, it meant prayers answered. To his mother, it meant rest. But among the council of elders, one man listened differently. Baba Isokun. He was older than most memories. His back bent like a question no one wanted to ask. He spoke rarely, but when he did, silence came first. Baba Isokun did not visit Adekunle. He did not send palm wine. He did not ask after his city life. While other elders praised Adekunle's discipline, Baba Isokun frowned slightly. While they spoke of destiny fulfilled, he shifted his staff. "You do not bring back light from the city," Baba Isokun said one evening, softly, without shadows following. The words were ignored, because joy makes people deaf. A few nights later, Adekunle dreamt for the first time. In the dream, he stood at the village square, empty, except for a single oil lamp burning too brightly. As he approached it, the flame bent sideways, as if avoiding him. Then he heard footsteps behind him. When he turned, there was no one there, only his shadow. But it was standing still. He woke, unsettled. Mama Yetunde noticed. "You have carried too much far from home," she said, tying her wrapper. "Rest properly." Adekunle smiled and agreed, but rest began to refuse him. Strange things followed, quiet things. His name was mentioned where he was not present. Palm wine soured too quickly when offered in his honor. Dogs barked at nothing near his mother's compound. Then, one afternoon, Baba Isokun finally came. He did not greet Adekunle directly. He greeted the ground. "The earth remembers those who leave," he said, lowering himself slowly. "But it also remembers those who are not pleased when they return. Adekunle bowed respectfully. "I came only to greet my people," he said carefully, "and to sit where I was raised." Baba Isakun studied him for a long moment. "You returned complete," the elder said. "Some do not forgive that." No explanation followed. That night, Adekunle dreamed again. This time, he was walking out of Alaaro the way he once did, but his feet were heavy. Behind him, voices called his childhood name. Ahead of him, the city lights flickered like dying stars. When he tried to step forward, his shadow pulled backward. Morning brought a quiet heaviness. Sade noticed first. "You look like someone standing between two doors," she said. Later that day, Adekunle fell ill. Not violently, not dramatically. Just a weakness that felt borrowed. Herbal mixtures helped only briefly. City medicine did nothing at all. The more treatments were applied, the quieter his body became. Finally, the elders gathered. Baba Isakun spoke plainly. "Not everyone celebrates destiny fulfilled," he said. "Some believe destiny must remain balanced. When one rises too far, envy begins to negotiate." Silence followed. The youngest elder asked the question no one wanted to voice. "Can it be undone?" Baba Isakun tapped his staff once. "Some doors close gently. Others demand something to be left behind." That night, Mama Yetunde stayed awake beside her son. Adekunle held her hand. "I think the city took more than I knew," he whispered. "But coming home woke something else." Tears ran down Mama Yetunde's face. "You don't belong to them," she said. "You belong here." Adekunle smiled faintly. "No, Mama," he replied. "I belong to what I left too." At dawn, as the village stirred, Adekunle slept deeply, for the first time since returning. He did not wake. There was no scream, no collapse, only stillness. When they buried him, the wind did not move. Baba Isakun stood apart, leaning heavily on his staff. "He came home with too much light," he said, "and some shadows do not share." Years later, people still speak of Adekunle, not as a warning, but as a lesson. That destiny can be fulfilled, that success can return home. But envy, when older than joy, waits quietly, and sometimes the village gives back love, but keeps the rest. I did not hate the boy. People say that when a man keeps quiet, it is because his heart is dark. That is a lie told by those who speak too much. Silence is not always hatred. Sometimes it is memory. I watched Adekunle return the way a man watches a river rise. Calm on the surface, dangerous underneath. Long before his mother gave birth to him, Allah Aro had made a promise, not a prayer, not a blessing, a pact. When the village was young and hungry, when drought pressed its mouth against our throats, our fathers went to the Igbale Grove, the old shrine where the land still speaks. They begged for survival. The ancestors answered, but not freely. The land would bless Allah Aro. The land would protect Allah Aro. But no child of this soil would carry its light too far away and return whole. Balance was the price. Some died young. Some failed early. Some never left at all. That was how the village remained standing. When Adekunle left years ago, the shrine stirred. But he was young. His light was still small. The ancestors allowed it to travel. In the city, his light grew. It grew too bright. Success fed it. Distance sharpened it. The city polished him until destiny sat comfortably on his shoulders. And destiny, when it grows unchecked, attracts eyes that do not blink. When he stepped back onto Allah Aro's soil, the earth recognized him immediately. The dogs knew. The wind knew. The old shrine knew. That is why I did not smile. People thought I envied him. No, I feared for him. When palm wine turned sour in his honor, it was not jealousy, it was warning. When his shadow refused to move in his dream, it was not imagination, it was resistance. The ancestors do not shout, they negotiate. Adekunle's illness was not sickness, it was withdrawal. The land was taking back what it had lent. City medicine could not touch it. Herbs only delayed it. because his body was not failing. His connection was. When the elders asked me if it could be undone, I told them the truth they did not want. The pact does not kill, it collects. Adekunle had two choices, though he never knew them clearly. Leave the village immediately and never return again, not even in death, or stay. And pay what balance demanded, but love is heavier than wisdom. He stayed for his mother. He stayed for memory. He stayed because the village felt like rest. That night, when he slept deeply, the shrine came quietly. Not with fire, not with fear, with forgetting. His breath was taken gently, the way a debt is settled when both sides are tired. At dawn, when they said he had passed peacefully, they were right. Peace is not always mercy, sometimes it is agreement. When they buried him, I did not cry. I leaned on my staff because age is heavy, and because carrying truth alone bends the spine. Adekunle did not die because he returned. He died because he returned complete. The village still stands because of men like him. That is the part people do not tell. And that is why, when another young man speaks too loudly about leaving Ala Aro forever, I say nothing. The shrine hears everything.